Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Okay, so we just started with Viveka Ramani last 2 days ago. And we just looked at the meaning of the word Viveka in a very broad way. So the word Viveka means to distinguish, to separate, to discriminate. So nowadays, the word discriminate has taken a negative connotation. The discriminations against some community, against some people, etc. But what we are interested in is, that's why I said separation, prithak karane, to separate. We don't need to separate things which are black and white. Black is black, white is white. You don't need to separate. Then what do you need to separate or distinguish? That which can be mixed up and which is mixed up. That's what needs to be separated. Why is it important to separate? Because if we don't separate things, in some cases it may be okay. Suppose you can't separate the real from the unreal. If you can't separate the real from the unreal, if you can't separate success from failure, if you can't separate dharma versus adharma, we will talk about dharma a little later. If you can't separate what is the means and what is the end, if you can't distinguish where do you begin and end, and where does the world begin and end, if you can't separate, and if you think you have separated it, see, if you can't separate ever, it's okay. You can, but you think that you know it right, then that's real damage. Because if I don't know what I should know, and I think I know, I will never try to know. All right? So this separation is a very general word, but we have to look at Purushartha Viveka. What is the goal of life? Is the goal of life? Please don't send messages right now. I will answer any questions you have at the end. Okay? So, and you don't need, question was about some commentary. Which commentary do I recommend? I won't recommend any commentary right now. I will give you the commentary, okay? That's what I want you to focus on, because otherwise you will read a commentary and you will listen to me filtered. I don't want to be filtered, okay? I want to carry my full weight with you. Not my weight, the Sampradaya's weight, okay? The teaching tradition's weight. All right. But anyway, general request for those of you who are new, please don't avoid sending any chat messages unless you have a problem technically, and then you send it to the co-host Ramesh or Mahita. Two people can send it and they can help you if need be. Okay. Otherwise, keep anything else you want to ask to the end of the class. All right. So I'm saying if the discrimination is something which is important in life, so I was saying there's what is called as Purushartha Viveka. What is my goal in life? Is it becoming wealthier? Is it becoming powerful? Is it becoming successful? whatever success means, okay? Is it to live forever? Is it to be healthy? Is it to make my country great? What is my goal? Is there a goal in life? First question. Is there a goal in life? Or is there only an immediate goal? These, these are all Viveka, because you suppose you think there is no goal in life. You just live. Then the way of living will be quite different. When you have a goal-directed behavior, your life will be different. So the importance of knowing things correctly is very important. See, Viveka is really knowing things as they are also. You know, sentient, insentient Viveka. So Viveka is at different levels, not one. So I said to you, the title of the work is what? Viveka Chudamani. And Chudamani means what? Chuda is head and money is jewel. So a jewel worn on the head, literally, that means the crown, or a jewel in the crown, means the best. So we can look upon this title as the best among discriminations, or I can say discrimination is the best. That discrimination we're going to talk about. And what is that? To know the difference between the real and the unreal. And you know what? What the Veda has to say to you? That there is only one reality. And there is nothing except that one reality. Where do you stand? Are you that one reality or you're not? Difficult, because that's not my view. Veda says, so let it say. Who cares what it says? I know what I am. Because you trust your view more, or you trust Veda's view more about yourself. Modern trend, of course, is me. What is Veda? Right? So I'm saying there is something to be known. And this is a subject matter for a long time now. We will get into that. But before we get there, I thought, see, suppose I introduce the topic and say, okay, Vivek Chudamani is a book on Vedanta. It is written by Adi Shankaracharya. It has got 545 verses. It's a Prakarana Grantha. This is not going to make many of you wiser. All right? The tradition in our country is, before you start a book, or when you have a book, before the book is published to the public at large, it must be clearly pitched as to saying what is the purpose that the book serves. What is the topic under discussion in the book? All right. For who is the book intended? Who is the expected audience for a book? All right. Then what is the purpose which is going to be served? There's a subject matter, there's a purpose, there's an audience, and then what is the connection between the purpose and the subject matter? This is the preface of a book, okay? You don't write whatever you want to write. Preface must tell you. This is what should connect you to a work. So you want to study it. This way we will see in Viveka Chudamani itself, you will see this. The author himself will present it. But I would like to set up a background before the author does, because otherwise we are not ready for it. All right? Because we should see the relevance to this study in our life. Unless we see a relevance, unless we see the connection between what am I going to get by studying this, my interest to study is curiosity pushed. It's curiosity based many a time. Well, let's check out how it feels like. That can be a way. But then, if you understand what is it that's at stake, whether you understand, whether you study this particular text or not, then you will make a more informed choice whether this text should be studied by me. Am I the kind of person for whom this text is intended? What will I achieve by studying this text? And how the text will help me achieve this purpose? All this must become clear to me. This is called in Sanskrit Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha means that which binds. Bandha. Anubandha means this is what Anu is after. Based on this is your connection to the subject, the book. Okay. So now, the subject matter of this book happens to be Vedanta. But that's a word which many of us may not understand. All right. So we'll step back a little. Forget anything that, you know, any text says. What do we see in our own life? You see animals in the world. You see plants. You see mountains. You see rivers. You see oceans. Right? Do you think there's a purpose for the oceans? Do they have a purpose in life? Do the mountains have a purpose in life? I have to grow taller and taller and taller. Do they have a purpose like that? No, not to my knowledge. Right? Do humans have a purpose in life? Do we think we have a purpose in life? Do we have certain basis to live our life? What about animals? Do they have a program for life? What do we see in any living being? In any living being, you take an animal, a bird is sitting perched near in your garden, let us say, and you try to approach it. What does the bird do? Does it sit and wait for you? Generally, after a while, it gets used to you. It might even wait. So somebody told me, Swamiji, my pleasure is I go, there's a peacock which comes and calls me, and I take some grain, and it comes and takes it from me. It's wonderful. It's possible. Or a cow. You go, you call it. There are cows which will come to you to the shop. Early morning, I've seen this. You're trying to get you know, your hair cutting done. And suddenly a cow appears at the door. It was interesting to me to watch. Cow comes at the door. It doesn't call, doesn't moo. No? Moo. It doesn't do. It just stands there. And then it puts its head into the opening. And the person who is supposed to do my haircut says, just give me a minute. He goes, gives it a banana, and then it goes away. It's very interesting to see that. And he told me, this is its routine. If I don't give it, it will go away after a while, but it will wait. It won't make noise. It will wait. Right? But I'm saying now, generally though, a bird is sitting. You go, what happens? It flies away. Why? A big bird, a peacock, even that flies away because you're bigger than that. Correct? Anything uncertain about you, it wants to make sure it is safe. Is that true or not? Suppose, you know, there's a lizard. Lizards are common in our country. You find lizards, and it's creeping behind a picture in your altar. It creeps out, and it's creeping there. You went there, you switched on the light to light the lamp. What happens? Does it sit and watch you? It immediately sneaks behind the picture again. Have you seen that? What makes it do it? Do you tell him, I'm coming? You go hide? No. Are you planning to hurt it? Generally, no, I hope. But it goes in. Correct? If you look at any wildlife programs, there are herds of deer and they go to a water hole. There's a national park called Etosha National Park, somewhere in Namibia, in Africa. It's huge tracts of almost desert land, no vegetation, and there are just a few water holes. And those water holes is where every living being comes for a drink. There's no other place. Early morning onwards, the ritual starts. Birds come, then small animals come, then large animal comes, then comes our friend Ganesha, elephant, herd of elephant. And these elephants, when they come, everybody else makes way. That's etiquette. If you don't make way, you'll get crushed under them. They make way. Who taught them to make way? Who taught the other animals to make way? So you will find that every animal has a love to live, love to be secure, love to survive. Now, these animals are drinking, right? And you watch the deer drink. A few are drinking and a few are looking because it has two jobs. It has to survive. To survive, it has to eat, and it also has to watch for the predators. There are predators which will make a meal of it. So there are deer which are drinking, there are deer which are watching. They have a community life too, of some kind. You watch a colony of bees. It's not so simple. They have very complex social mechanisms. So there are worker bees, there is a queen bee, you know. Whether a human queen lives with such comfort, I don't know. But the queen bee has only one job to do, to make sure the population grows. That's all her job is. And everybody else has to take care of her. Ants live in a community. But what is common? Every animal wants to survive. Correct? And what is the success of an animal? It grows up to become an adult and it propagates its own kind, its species. Yeah. A plant also grows, propagates, right? Once it's an adult and it's propagated, in a way, its life, can it grow any more? Even human beings, height and weight, how much do you grow after 20? If it grows, we have a problem, okay? We become afraid. Obesity is coming. So the animals have this much to do. And as I mentioned last time, a dog is not unhappy being a dog. It's not ashamed of being a small dog. A pig is not ashamed of being a pig. And a donkey has no qualms being called a donkey. Correct? They're happy being what they are. But suppose you are short, as you think. Everybody normally is 5.5 feet in your community of people you live in, and you happen to be 4.5 feet. And if I say, hey, shorty, do you like it? Do people like it? Generally, no. Right? Or you call somebody by some some name which is based on their community. Do they like it today? Not normally, right? And when you when you dress up, you look at the mirror. Why? You want to be presentable. What will happen if you're not presentable to whom? Does the cow say, do you see my horn? Do you like it? Should I change the curvature a little? No cow has that problem, right? And sometimes you have a dog with no tail. Dogs of that kind. And there are dogs with a lot of hair, and dogs with no hair, and dog which is tall, and dog which is short. Do any one of them have a problem? No. But human being, what distinguishes a human being? A human being always seems to be wanting to improve, wants to be different from what he or she is. Is this true or not? Generally, we want to be different. If you give me A, I will take A, but I want B also. There is never a point where you don't want something. Brief intervals, you don't want something is okay. But generally, you always have something else waiting, correct? So do you feel you can be better off, be happier? You do, right? You want that. At the same time, you always have a sense of judgment about ourselves. We have. I am not good enough. That's why I want to get better. I'm not good enough as I am. I want to be better, correct? So if I want to be better, then what will I do? I have to look for a way to get better. And you ask a human being, okay, all right, what do you want? What do you want? Depends on when you ask the fellow, at what age, correct? And not only what age, at what time of the day you ask the person, correct? Early morning, what do you want? Early morning, very early morning. I want to sleep for some more time. Coffee will come later, okay? So let me sleep for some more time. Why are you waking me up now? I want a good sleep. One fellow will say. Another fellow will say what? I want to be up. It is time to do Surya Namaskara now. Correct? Then after that, what? Some tea you want. I want a breakfast. What breakfast? Cereal? Fruit? Come on, I'm not interested in healthy breakfast. Give me something good. Masala dosa. That sounds a good idea. Right? I mean, you see how many choices we have. Okay, what do you have among, suppose you go to a five-star restaurant in India, no? And you go for a buffet breakfast. How many breakfast items are there? One, two, three, four. Fingers on my hand are not sufficient, right? And after all this, there'll be one fellow who will say, no, none of these are good. Give me something different. So what do you want? What do you want in any point in time? Is there a goal only for now, or is there a goal for life? Like these animals, they grow up, they become mature adults, they propagate, and they die over one day. What about human being? Is that all you want? And you know what? Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, if you survive, you grow up. If you survive a little more, you grow up to be an adult. If you survive a little more, you might propagate. Is that true or not? What do you have to do to become an adult? What do you have to do? An animal, what does it have to do? Nothing. It has to survive. It has to eat. It has to fend off against any predatory forces. It has to survive. Is that all a human being has to do too? Would you be happy just doing that much? I live. No. A human being has so much capacity to choose that it's a distinction about a human being is what I have to choose. I have the capacity to choose and I have to choose. I won't choose. That's a choice. The one choice you don't have is to make choices, right? How do you make a choice? What will I have for breakfast? How do you make a choice? You are in the buffet where there's 35 items kept there. How do you choose? I have never eaten that. Let me try it out. One basis. Okay. Upma. Every day I eat at home. Why should I eat that in a hotel? I'll eat something which I don't make at home. Another basis. No, I think I want something which will be light. Choose some kanji. All right. Choice. Basis for choice. I want something which is really healthy. Whatever it's for you. Okay. I'm a diabetic. So what? Papaya. Get more papaya. You have nice mango sitting there. No, no, I don't want it. Another fellow says, at home, wife doesn't let me eat mango because I'm diabetic. Eat as much as you want now. Choice. Correct? What's the basis for choice? Choice you have to make. What's your base? Another fellow might say, okay, you know what? I won't make a choice. You go bring it for me. You made a choice. Your partner has to go bring it for you. Whatever she wants to bring, she'll bring you. That's also a choice. So I'm saying, all right, you had your breakfast. Now you have to go back. How do you go back? Where should you go back? Go home? Sunday. Go home or go elsewhere? Choice, right? How should I go? I decided to go home. How should I go? Cab, Ola, or Uber? Choice. You have to make a choice. Where do you not make a choice? Morning you dress up. Do you choose? Going to school is good time. Everyday uniform. Okay, that's called uniform. Uniform. No difficulty. Just pick up one pair, wear it, and go. Same shoes, same socks every day. Hopefully washed. Shoes seldom polished, unless my mom saw it going unpolished. Right? That's how you lived. But I'm saying, when you have a choice, is there a basis for choice? What is the basis? What's the basis? So, is the basis what you like? Is the basis what you don't eat normally? Is the basis health? Is the basis taste? Is the basis what other people with you want to eat? Is the basis what you eat in that place earlier and what was good? What's your basis? Or a mix of all these? But still, why do you eat? I have to appease my hunger. For that, you don't need any of these bases. Whatever fills you up should be enough. Kshudyadishcha chikitsatam. Hunger, the disease to be remedied. That's enough. But then we choose. So, how do we choose? This is just for a simple activity of having breakfast on a given day. Correct. What about now you're in school? Your child is in school. The child says, what should I do after 10th? Nowadays, I don't know if they ask. We used to ask sometime, what should we do? I don't even know. Now children are more educated. I think I want to do arts, painting or something. And then father says, what will you do with painting? Will it pay the bills? Will you live with that in India? You better do something which will at least give you a job, okay? Dad, you're working. That's enough. Because dad's making so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it anyway. But the fact is, again, you have to help your child choose. How do you tell the child, Dad, should I go to school or drop out? I don't like school. I don't like school. I don't like this school. I won't go. What does the mother feel? Troubled. Okay, we'll put you in another school. Finds one reason and walks out of that school too. goes to third school. Then what? Mother doesn't know what to do. Father says, let him be. It's okay. He will go to school and he wants to go. What do you do now? I'm just saying, choice. Not only you choose for yourself, you also want to choose for your children. But I'm saying, what is the basis for me to choose? Why should I go to school? No, you'll when you study, you'll have education. Then what will I get with education? You'll have a good job. What will happen to that job? You'll have a good living standard. Okay. Then what will I do after I get it? What after I got some money? You make some more money. Now dad's turn, okay? What should we do now? I've been working. I made 10 crores so far. Okay. Should I work for some more? I think you should work for some more time because minimum saving should be at least 40 crores before you retire. So all I'm saying is, where do you stop? Where's the choice? What's the basis? One fellow says, 1 crore, arey bhaiya, life savings are made. Nothing more is needed in life. Another fellow says, 1 crore, one illness will wipe it out. Okay, better work. How do you choose? And what is this only things to choose? How about your vacations every year? You know, and you have a vacation of 10 days. All right. Should you go to your in-laws or should you go to your parents? If you go to in-laws, then you won't feel very comfortable, perhaps. If you go to parents, the other one doesn't feel comfortable, perhaps. And children prefer to go somewhere else. And then you want to have your professional contact, you want to go with them also. And then somebody else says one spouse wants to go for some nice jogging, trekking, and another one wants to go for Vedanta camp. What do you do? How do you choose? How do you choose? So finally, what do you choose? You choose something which you're comfortable with. But comfort today doesn't mean comfort tomorrow. I am very comfortable not doing anything today. Rest. Tomorrow also I'm very comfortable not doing anything. You ask a child, you know, what is good? Dashara is good. Why? 10 days holiday. That's what we used to like, 10 days holiday, in which 4 days you are asked not to study. Saraswati Puja, that's the best holiday. Because otherwise every day you have to study. But what do parents think? That is not the lifestyle for you. Study. Study and be steady with your study, not steady elsewhere. Right? Don't go steady. Relationship. Be study. Study. Study well. Why should I study? Because they have some end in view. So you have an end in view normally or not? How many ends in view do you have? How many ends in view do you have? It depends on each area, right? In your personal life, how many ends do you have? Do you have professional ends also? Yes. So I'm saying in each area, suppose you live in a community, in the country, you have some wishes for the country too. You have some wishes for the whole world too. Economically, environmentally sustainable world you want to have, right? In the family also you have certain goals. Now, in the midst of all these goals, how do you decide? One pulls you this way, one pulls you that way. How do you decide? Is there a basis or is there no basis? If there is a basis, what is the basis? So, is there an overall overriding goal for life itself? Or is there just momentary goals? Is my purpose of life to die? What is the end of life finally? Ram Naam Satya hai. You know, Ram Nam Satya means what? God's name is real. That's the only reality, okay? Everything else is gone. The body is dying, lying there. Is that the goal? If my goal is to die, why should I struggle in between? I will die anyway. So what will you say? No, I want to live. Good. And you want to live unhappily? No, no, I want to live happily. But you have so many goals in various areas. How do you balance them? Work-life balance. How do you balance? Spiritual and professional life balance. How do you balance? Our problem. How do you balance? Competition, professional competition versus the attitude of satisfaction. How do you balance? I'm saying it's mind-boggling. The choices we have to make is mind-boggling. If we don't make those choices or don't make them with a valid basis, we are the ones who will face the consequences of every choice we make. Correct? Therefore, while an animal a plant just needs an environment to survive, grow, propagate, and pass away, because it's happy being what it is, or so we assume. Even if it is not happy, its only thing is looking for food and, survival, right? The dog on the street seems quite happy being a dog on the street. It doesn't feel, oh, I wish I had a good owner who would take me in a car. I don't think it complains. And there's a mound of earth, some construction work going on. There's a mound of sand, and suddenly these two dogs come. They run up that mound of sand and they roll all over in it, and they're very happy. I sometimes look at it and say, you are never happy doing such things. Nowadays, you don't even feel like going out and drenching yourself in rain. We're too sophisticated. As children, we did drench ourselves sometimes. But now I think you always take an umbrella. We're afraid of getting drenched, seems like, right? Saying, so I'm saying, and how many things do we do freely and how many times are we inhibited? Do you smile uninhibitedly or do you smile inhibitedly? Swamiji used to say, somebody started laughing. He'd normally not laugh. Suddenly, then he closed his mouth. Why? Because he has a dental complex. His worried people look at his teeth and he doesn't feel good about it. Close his mouth. Even to smile or laugh is a problem, right? So, so then what do we find? In the midst of all this, we snatch a few moments of happiness, comfort, right? And we tie our happiness to those situations and we try to reproduce those situations. Is it not true? And many a time our choices are based on what the community we live in chooses, right? If you lived in a village long ago, your choices were perhaps very few. Your role models were very few. But today, I think the children face an enormous challenge because everybody is on Facebook. And you have so much information coming to you, you don't know what to do with it. And these fellows have made a very nice basis based on human psychology. Likes. You say, I like it, I dislike it, or no comment. I like. So what do you want? More likes. How many people like my post? So now, what makes you happy? Likes, right? So this happiness is we run after. We run after happiness. What is the basis for happiness? So people are doing research. What is happiness? So medically they do research, right? And of course, even without medically, you hear people now in the US talk about fentanyl. What's the problem with fentanyl? Or coke, cocaine, not Coca-Cola, okay? Cocaine, white powder. What's the problem with that? Why do people run after it? Because when you take it, it does something to you. What does it do to you? It gives you a high. How does it give you a high? It inhibits your inhibitors. Medically, I believe it inhibits the neuroinhibitors. When it does that, what happens? You become freer. All the dental complexes are forgotten. Correct? Or you go, okay, cocaine is a little more. Or you go as a teenager or as a young adult. You go with your friends. What do people do before they eat? They have some spirits to raise the spirit, right? What does the spirit do? What does it do again? People would say, take some. Why? Because then you'll open up. Otherwise, you don't open up because you're too constrained. So what does it do? It inhibits the buddhi. It inhibits it. The inhibitions based on your own attitudes and value structures, it inhibits them. Then what does it give you? When you're uninhibited, you enjoy yourself. Uninhibited enjoyment is what you look for, right? But later you may regret what you did. But at that time, you are uninhibited. Happiness. So happiness is when you forget yourself. Is that right? Or when you're not there. The personality, are not there. Is that true? True or not? When are you happy? Unconditionally happy? In sleep. Are you there as a personality? You're not. But do you love your sleep or not? Who doesn't love good sleep? You love it. In a moment of joy, do you want anything in the world to be different? Anything in the world to be different at that moment? Nothing. Again, do you remember your dental complex at the time? Do you remember your education? Do you remember your height? If you remembered everything, you can't smile. You can't smile. So then, and then I told you now, how do you, if you can't forget, what do? You induce forgetfulness. How do you induce forgetfulness? Either inject something, or smoke something, or drink something. Correct? And I've heard that people who are suffering from, say, Parkinson's, old age, their moods are low. So they are given certain drugs which will jack up their dopamine levels. You know, what will that do? It's a happiness hormone or a neurotransmitter. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel good. You have dark chocolate, I believe it gives you some of it. It gives you a kick, okay? So this guy has a dose of 2. He likes it. He takes 4 without telling the doctor. You see where the human goal lies. Wants to be happy. Therefore, drugs are okay. Alcohol is okay. And approval of others is necessary for me to be okay. To say this dopamine is released in pleasurable situations in the body automatically. Right? But what are pleasurable situations? I would expect they will be different for each person, not the same. But yet there is a commonality. Good food, it gets released. Good relationship gets released. Right? And now medical science says, okay, if when you're happy, if you have dopamine levels are high, if we increase dopamine level, you'll be happy. So there was a time, hippie culture, 60s, when people thought LSD was the way to freedom, moksha. And Swamiji used to say, he used to go studying Sanskritam to one Swami, and there used to be another Swami there. And while these people would struggle with grammar and language, that man would be rolling, this marijuana, raw green leaves into nice balls, and then he pops them And he says, you know what? You are struggling for moksha. I go to moksha and come back from moksha every day. Nalla marandu marandu. He will sing like that also, you know. Swami would sing like that. It's a nice medicine. So the point is, I'm saying, what makes this possible? And apparently people who came to Rishikesh, Uttarakhand, they would be amazed because they're going somewhere and on the road they find these ganja all over. Nobody to stop them. Just take and you know, like a cow would graze, they can graze on it. They don't want to go back anywhere because it gives you such a good feeling. So I'm saying, what is the truth? What is the basis for this happiness? Is it losing your inhibitions? Is losing your inhibitions a guaranteed way to happiness? You start with one dose of some drug. After a while, what happens? Your body gets used to a new high. You can't accept a low. That's called an addiction. Many of us, or most of us, I would expect here, are not in that category. That's probably because we haven't tried it. If you knew what it'll give you, then only you will go after it. Otherwise, why would we go after it? We are told it's not good, it's not good. You stay away. That's why somebody will get you addicted. Because that's when business starts for them. And you go through teenage groups to do it. Because that's when you are willing to experiment with new ideas. Correct? The point is, all this is what I'm asking you is this. What is the basis for choice in any of these now? Is happiness my choice? Then I better know what is happiness. What brings about happiness? And not only that, do we all have the same starting point in life? Do we all start equal in life? Being born in India, is that a good start? Or being born in Switzerland is a good start? Or being born in China today is a good start? Or being born in the US today is a good start? You tell me what's a good start. Do you think a good start or not? So many people want to have their children born abroad so that they have a good start. Correct? But everybody can't be there. So why do we begin differently? Is this is this person, what I call I, did it begin just now when I was born? Or is there an antecedent? When it drops, is this the end or is there something more? How are you going to know the answer to this question? Science will tell you. Science depends on perception and inference. What do you perceive? Birth of a baby. Okay, conception. Then birth. Then what? Death. Then what? Goes to the soil. Where is the beginning and end? Right here. What you don't see doesn't exist. Prove it. Is there a survivor after death? No. But then everything has a reason in the world. There is no mango tree without a mango seed. Is there? Do you get a mango tree with a neem seed? We used to have this couplet in Hindi, rope birwa neem ka, to aam kahan se khaye. If you plant a neem seed, you are going to get a bitter neem fruit, not a sweet mango. What does it tell you? What you sow is what you reap. If every plant that germinates came from a seed, what about this human body? Did it come from nothing? Did your parents have the know-how to create this body? Did our parents have it? Even doctors don't have the capacity to, you know, to make the baby what it is, right? You may know anatomy, you may know physiology. What else do you know? We don't even know what gender the child will be. After it happens, you can know, right? But you don't know what gender it will be. So I'm saying all these questions beg an answer. Is there a basis for life or not? And I'm saying, depending on the community you live and the time you live, you get certain answers. If you were born in the 1940s in Russia, what would you hear as the answer? Communism is everything, In China too, communism is everything. Mao, you either toe the line or you were purged. Correct? Suppose you lived in some other era, be different. If you lived in Rajneesh's commune, what would be your goal in life? I don't know. Depend on what you learned there. So I'm saying we are all very much influenced by what we hear. But what is the basis? Whatever community tells you is right. Be a Roman while in Rome. Is that good enough? Is education necessarily good? Look, mom, look at Bill Gates. He dropped out from school. I would also like to be like him. Possible? And somebody else says, look at that guy. Yeah, he didn't go to school and he's running a startup. And everybody, all the graduates come and do namaskar to him. You know what Gyani Zail Singh, president, never went to school beyond third or fourth standard. So he made the president of India. What's the study? Very confusing. So this is the milieu. This is the environment we live in. Right? Questions I have raised, are there answers? So you go to any community. People have a certain lifestyle. People say there's a certain goal to life, right? But that goal to life, each person may think it's different, right? And therefore, somebody comes and says, look, there must be a cause for all this, all right? Reasonably, there must be a cause for all this. And there is God. So everything is God's doing. That's called religion. Theo, a God has walked in. What is God? Each one defines God in their own way. Be very cautious. God, the word, is most misunderstood, perhaps. So if I use the word God, you will understand the way you understand God. My God. So what is God? It's a power. It's a power. It's sitting somewhere far away and controls everything. Is that God? That could be your view of God. Is that a fact? Can you prove God? No. When you die, you will know. You will either go to eternal heaven or eternal hell. How do you know? If you ask such questions, devil is working on you. There's a devil and there is God. Now one second force has walked in, Satan. Is that true? How do you know? And God is a he and he has no form. Very important, you should know this, okay? He. God is definitely he, cannot be a she. How do you know? Human being, I can know he or she. How do you know God is he or she? He has no form, but it's a he. How? How? Eternal heaven. What is eternal heaven? Once you pass away, you are held in some suspended animation for some time, and then you will either go to heaven, which is eternal, or hell. Eternal means what? It's there forever. If it's there forever means what? Did it begin in time or not? If you entered heaven, it's not eternal. It can't be eternal. What you enter is in time. Time already was there. No, heaven was always there. You entered later. Come on. If you can enter it in time, it's still continuing to change in time, okay? You cannot call it eternal. There cannot be an eternal heaven. Science will disprove it today. But long ago when these religions were propagated, there was no science anyway. And what do they think? Earth is flat. Pope declares recently, Earth is not flat, it's spherical. It requires a religious declaration. Why? Because people think that is what church has everything, it has to tell you everything. They let the church regulate their life. That's belief, Shraddha, blind belief. Right? Then somebody else says, I don't believe in all This is all religion, is all nonsense. I am what? I'm an atheist. What does it mean? I don't believe in God. Which God do you not believe in? You have to define the God you don't believe in. And if you define, I will give you reasons why you should not believe in such a God. Another fellow says, I'm an agnostic, not atheist. I'm an agnostic. What does that mean? It means I don't believe in anything. I'm a non-believer. That's what it means. Agnos. I don't believe in anything. You don't believe you're alive? I don't believe. And when you declare yourself as agnostic, I don't believe in anything. I'm unsettled about any belief, any conviction, and I want to remain unsettled till I die because I have labeled myself. I am an agnostic. I am an atheist means what? I will never want to know what is God because I don't believe in it. If you use the word God, I will run away from there or I will beat you. Are any of these the answers? It looks like every human being has their own choice. And somebody else says, no, no, I'm spiritual. What's spiritual? There's an air with being spiritual, you know. Yeah, mundane. These are all samsaris. I'm spiritual. What does spiritual mean? I attend, Vedic chanting class. Does that make you spiritual? No, I attend Gita. Does it make you spiritual? What is spiritual? What does spiritual mean? Other than the spirit, which you can test by checking the blood alcohol level. What's spiritual? Swamiji would define and say, spirituality is when you say, I am accountable for the way I feel. You take responsibility for your life. Okay? So this is all the wide variety of things you see in life. All right? Now, to know what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is the goal, where do you begin? How do you know? Perception can only show you what you can perceive. And standing on the shoulders of your forefathers, whatever they perceived is recorded for us. That's how science is building. But science only talks about facts, physical facts. Okay. The fact is that atom has a lot of power in it, energy, which can be unlocked by either fission or fusion. Okay. How are you going to decide what is good for you now? Should you do fission or fusion or not? How would you decide? What is good for you, a fact doesn't tell you. A fact is a fact. Correct. So, what science can tell you, and science cannot tell you, are you, even science is even not able to tell you today, definitively, how did this universe come about? How did this universe come about? Big Bang is a theory. Nobody can be sure that's how it happened. Correct? You cannot be sure of anything which is not perceived. Was the Earth's creation perceived? Much less the sun and the stars. And you know what? Everything, every blessed thing we see in the world depends on something else. Everything you see. You're wearing a shirt. Where did it come from? From fabric. Where did fabric come from? From cotton. Where did cotton come from? From cotton plant. Where did cotton plant come from? From cotton seed. Where did cotton seed come from? From cotton plant. Where did cotton plant come from? From cotton seed. Which came first? Cotton plant or cotton seed? Must be cotton seed. How did the seed come? No, no, must be plant. You keep shaking your head, that's all. You will never reach a conclusion. But how can A depend on B and B depend on A? Is that possible? For a thinking person, there are a lot of questions to ask. If you want to just muddle through it, it's fine. but even to model through, unless you know realities. So what do you know? It's nice to have EVs today. You can reduce the carbon footprint, right? All right. How do EVs work? They have rechargeable things. Did you ever hear of rare earths till now? Rare earths. Did you hear until a year ago? Rare earth magnets. I didn't know there was rare earth magnet. I knew only of, you know, normal magnet. I didn't know something called a rare earth magnet. Where did it come from? Now you realize that your EV vehicle production stops until you have rare earths. And you know rare earths don't come to you unless you say, China, Bhagavan, please bless me. See, life is so dependent. We are discovering dependency in terms of supply chains in industry. You have to decouple your, supply chain in such a way that you don't get depending on one guy. You need a second source. The second source will also have another problem. You need a third source then, right? This is what you see about your simple EV. Or you have a beautiful uranium reactor. Where is all the uranium? Sitting in Russia. So where do you import from? From Russia. You keep blaming and putting sanctions on others, but you import uranium from them. Dependency, right? This shirt depends on cotton. Cotton depends on a seed. Seed also has a reality. The whole earth depends on sun. The sun has a reality. Some scientists worried. What is sun? It's just burning gases. One day to soon it will be burnt out. What will happen after that? Cold winter. What is the end? Are there answers? Because unless you know the cause, you don't know a thing at all. Without cotton, will you have a shirt? No. Without cotton plant, will you have cotton? Unless you know cotton plant, you can't get cotton. Unless you know what soil, black soil, you can grow cotton, you can't grow cotton. So much knowledge you require, right? And when you go beyond perception, you have nothing to decide. It's anything beyond perception is speculation. Any hypothesis is speculation until it's proven. Correct? In the midst of all this, in our culture, we have a, a book, a means of knowledge called Veda. Veda is a means of knowledge. Means of knowledge means what? Which informs you of certain things. Like to see color. How do you see color? With your eyes. Can you see color in any other way other than your eyes? Is it possible? Try with your nose, with your hands, by touching. Can you know color? No. Therefore, what is the means of knowledge for color? Eyes. What is the means of knowledge for smell? Your nose. What is the means of knowledge for touch? The whole body. What is the means of knowledge for taste? Your tongue. You may enhance a means of knowledge. I wear glasses. You can wear a hearing aid. I don't know of any smell enhancers till now. Right? You can enhance your means of knowledge with an X-ray. X-ray means you can see more than what the eyes see. You can have radars to catch on to find things which are lower frequencies or higher frequencies. Right? Ultrasound scanners you can have. So many things are possible. Right? But everything finally comes to these 5 means of knowledge you have. Correct? Now, if there is anything which cannot be known with these 5 means of knowledge, then what would that be? Do you have a means of knowledge to know what is beyond your means of knowledge? Inference is one. You see smoke, and you always see smoke with fire only. Therefore, you conclude if there is smoke, there must be fire. That is called inference. That's another means of knowledge. Predominantly perception and inference. Now, how do you know whether there was something, whether you existed before you were born? How do you know? Perception cannot tell you, right? So, what cannot be told by the means of knowledge in my hands? Perception, inference primarily. If I have to know something definitely, I need a means of knowledge other than my perception and inference. Can there be such a means of knowledge? Now, the Veda says it's a means of knowledge. It tells you if you do this particular ritual, you will get this outcome. If you do this action, make it simpler. If you do this action, you will get this outcome. And you will see there is no correlation, no perceptible correlation between the action and the outcome. Okay? So if you do this huge action, karma, ritual, putra kameshti, you will have a child. Dasharatha was told. He did. He got a child, not one, four. Right? Swamiji, give me a break. How can you prove it's because of that? I can't prove it. All right. But I don't have to. You disprove. Why should I prove it's because of that? You disprove it's not because of that. I can't disprove. I can't prove. So where does it leave you? It leaves you with a unverifiable belief. What is the whole area of the means of knowledge called Veda? That which is not available for perception and not available for inference, which means you have no means to talk about it. If you question whether Putra Kameshti works or not, it is like questioning, without eyes, whether it's red or green. You have no means to question. But whether son or born, not you don't know. All right, how do you prove? How do you prove means of knowledge? How do you prove your eyes work? Close your eyes, prove your eyes work. Let me see. Prove. All I request is close your eyes, and now you have to prove. I'm closing my eyes. I don't know, maybe it's been affected by some disease right now. I will open it only if you prove that my eyes can see. Prove. How are you going to prove it? You can do anything you want. Prove it. What is the only thing you can do to prove it? You will have to force my eyes open. Is there any other way? One means of knowledge cannot prove another means of knowledge. Eyes cannot prove the nose. Nose cannot prove the tongue. Tongue cannot prove the smell. Tongue is two things: sense of touch and sense of taste. Two things it can do. Therefore, if you put something very hot, there's no taste, but hot touch, you've got it. But you can't open your tongue and look at the world. Some people think, snake putting its tongue, it's looking. It doesn't look with the tongue. It can't look with the tongue, okay? Doesn't make sense. Some blind ideas are there. But the whole point is, how do you prove Veda as a means of knowledge? If it's a means of knowledge. How do you prove your eyes are a means of knowledge? Use them. How do you prove Veda as a means of knowledge? Do what it says. Swami, I'm not convinced. Why does it not say it's very difficult? It will say if it wanted to. But does it matter to you? It tells you do it with Shraddha. If you say a child won't be born and do it, child won't be born. You want to take it from me? That's called Shraddha. No, prayers say if you do things, you'll get this, get that. Will we get it or not? Depends on what you think. If you say, will we get it? already doubt is there. Doubt is there. When you do it with doubt, for Veda, a prerequisite is you have Shraddha. What is Shraddha? A belief pending verification. So you did Putra Kameshti, you got a child. Now don't say, I don't know, it may just happen. Hey, you tried everything before that. Okay? Common example. Now, modern day, there's no rain. Monsoon is approaching. There's no rain. Right? And therefore, somebody says, let's do cloud seeding. So you have to take silver iodide pellets and, shoot them in the air, in the atmosphere, release them at high altitude. Those will form the nuclei for water vapor, and therefore you'll have a cloud collection. All right? This is science. So now somebody did a silver iodide business. Can you prove necessarily it did cause rain? Maybe some atmospheric changes brought it in, which you don't understand today. Now go one more step. Somebody says you do a particular homa, a kariri will bring rain. How will it bring rain? You put fire, you pour ghee into it, you do a few things. How will it produce rain? And you have to chant some mantras. Where is the connection between rain and that? Try. And this is something Puja Swamiji talked about. He said as a brahmachari, he saw this with his eyes, where somebody said it will produce rain. And Swamiji said, can you prove it? He said, yes. So they needed some material. They made a hat collection. They got the money. And it's a bright day, sun shining, nowhere the size of cloud. And the man who is officiating for that ritual walks in with an umbrella. He's so sure it's going to rain. They do it. And before the ritual Purnahuti is happening, it's pouring there. This is Swamiji's own words. Maybe it just happened somehow. This is called Ashraddha. But understand, Veda is a means of knowledge. And that means of knowledge has something to say to a human being, a lot to say to a human being about things that a human being doesn't know. Cannot know, not just doesn't know, cannot know. Hey, that you're born as a human being, it's not that you are not. You always were. Right now, this is your current avatar. This is how you are right now. How do you know I was there? How come you love Carnatic music today when nobody in your house loves it? There must be a reason. How come? I mean, people look for fluke, look for unexplained cases, X-Files. So somebody is sitting in Punjab and talks fluent Bengali, never having been to Bengal. These are small instances. But the fact is, why every personality has already been, has got some basis. Every one of us has a personality. Two siblings at home, two twins may be completely unlike each other. Why? Same parentage, same genes, same, living conditions. Why the two are entirely different? One is veg and one is non-veg. Without that, won't move forward. Why? Have any answers? We don't have any answers. But what explains it? Why are four siblings four different people? How do you explain this? Is there no cause for it? Okay. Another religion says there is no reason. You have only one birth. You're born, and after that you go to heaven. Why was I not born in the right place? Why was I born in a place where there is no message from God? God is coming. Are you ready? He's arriving. Are you ready? I want to be ready. How should I be ready? Get baptized. How do I know? If I get baptized, don't worry. If you get baptized and you have a right burial, you will go to heaven. How do I know? You will find out. You're selling me a dream. You can't solve the problem now. You're telling me it will get solved and I can never disprove it. So you can live on a life, whole life you live on a dream that this life will be what it is, but you live as the church says and you will go to heaven. Another fellow comes and says, that is not right heaven. My heaven is different. Want to come there? It's green. It's really green. No, I live in a desert and my heaven looks green. How else will it look when you live in a desert? Heaven will look green to you. Now, if you live in a desert, you'll buy that idea because you want something green. And somebody in India got a bright idea. You know what? Green, okay. But do you want a mango plant there? Or do you want chiku? I have rates. You tell me what you want. Make a donation. Based on that, you'll get that when you go there. This is called a nice scheme, okay? To separate the fool from his money. But the whole point is, everybody says something. Why not Veda also make some statements like that? What cannot be disproved by you is what is the Veda. You cannot disprove it. And if you find a logical fallacy, I will say that is not the Veda's purport. Whole of the Veda is not a pramana, not a means of knowledge. In that, there are parts which are helping the means of knowledge. Parts in the sense that, we have some structures within that. But the whole point is, if the Veda says fire is hot, Veda is not a pramana because Veda is not required for me to know fire is hot. I know with my sense of touch. Therefore, if Veda says fire is hot, it just means Veda is restating what I know. So what the Veda says is the means of knowledge is unquestionable, undisprovable. And the Veda says one more thing, one very important thing. It says all that is here is one reality. It is Ishvara. And this is something which needs to be understood. It is not a God which you have to believe in. It's a God which you can understand. It's a God which will be logically understandable, not understandable completely in some ways, understandable in some ways, and sometimes in some ways understandable. We will look into all this. But this Veda is telling me all that is here is Ishvara, one reality. And a human life should be in harmony with this one reality. That's the vision of the Veda. Why should I live in harmony? Because you are non-different from that reality. And if you live in harmony with this reality, you can recognize one day your non-alienation from this one reality. You can see that what is just one reality. You're non-separate from it, and therefore there is nothing more to achieve in life. Because there is no second thing except that one reality. And that is what you are. This is the vision of the Veda. Now, the last part which I mentioned is at the end of the Veda. And therefore, it is called Vedanta. Anta means end. So, what the Veda has to offer as a whole is the right perspectives, a clarity in terms of the purpose of life, the means to gain that end, the lifestyle to live to gain that. And it's all done in a way which does not in any way oppose any other means of knowledge. It is not against or contradictory to any other means of knowledge. What quantum physics is saying today is not very far from what we are talking all along. But the quantum physicist is saying it as a theory. Veda says it as a fact. Veda is a means of knowing. And quantum physics only talks of objects and things. Veda talks about you. You are really the center of your world. And to know you are the center of the world and that you happen with only reality is redeeming. But to get there, even though it's already a fact, is a journey from not knowing to knowing, journey from non-discrimination. Taking myself to be this body is non-discrimination, aviveka. And viveka is recognizing what is that, you know, everything I do is a role. Every role is Ishvara, while Ishvara is free from all roles. We will look into this as we go further. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Is there any question on today or last talk? Ask. Otherwise, I'll pick up questions I have received on the mail. If you have a question, raise your hand in Zoom because I can't see all the screens. Okay. So since there's nothing being asked, I will pick up questions I have received in the mail. Okay. I will share it with you as well so you can see the questions. Oh, what happened suddenly? Access denied. Give me a second. Okay. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. In just a second, I will be sharing this with you. Okay. Where's my Zoom window now? Yeah. Do you see my screen now? Okay. So now, there's a question. Everything depends on how we think and lead our lives. But being in these worldly duties, survival of the fittest. Let me increase the size a little or reduce it rather. Okay. Yeah. second, okay. I had set this all up, but I had to log out of my browser just before I started. Okay. Everything depends on how we think and lead our lives, but being in these worldly lives, survival of fittest, when do you think running behind money, duties, responsibility, etc., when should we stop, I think, right? Okay. Give me a second.
Samaji, you can go on the other tab, Vedanta New Questions. In that, you'll see it.
No, I think what has happened is I have changed my browser size, and that's why I think it is creating some trouble. It should be back now. Okay, now it's full, right? Everything depends on how we think and lead our lives. But being in these worldly duties, survival of the fittest, when do you think we should stop running behind money, duties, responsibility, etc.? That's the question. All right. Look, you have to make the choice. I can't make your choice for you. What we do is we inform you of facts, what we understand, right? So suppose you are in eating breakfast and I inform you of the choices. These are choices and I will tell you something about each, right? Suppose you want to eat a healthy, hygienic breakfast and I tell you this one is prepared like this, sweat came, he added, and that's the flavor in the dosa. You decide. You decide whether you want to eat or not. Choice is yours, okay? Same way, what we can do is both your perception, your inferences, your life experiences, and now one more factor which we're bringing in is Veda will tell you certain things, right? You have to examine your own situation. What choice would be right for you given all the factors? Because it's not one size fits all, We don't have a solution because each one of us is different at a different point in life, a different stage of life, and differently abled, different values, different constraints. So how can there be one answer for all? So now you have clubbed too many things together. Okay. Now I'll say something here. Money. When should you stop running after money? You decide when you have enough. That's the reality, okay? Because until you have enough, even if I tell you don't run after it, you are not going to listen to me. Or if you listen, when you feel you're short on money, you will call me. And I don't want to give you any because I don't have much to give you, okay? So that won't work. All right. Competition. Rat race. Do you always want to win? You choose. What's the cost of winning in the rat race? You got promoted to director at work. Wonderful. What happened? Your wife decided she wants to live away from you for good. Success? I don't know. No, both wife and husband are very happy. Good. You also work, I also work. We'll both work. What happened to the poor children? Send them to the boarding school. What happened to the child? Something else happens. So I'm saying, what is your value? You have to decide. I know the question is not so simple because it looks like all of them have some value for me. That's why it's a hard choice deciding. I'm not making it a light matter. What I'm trying to say to you is that if you have a clear matrix of what is your purpose in life, then that purpose or those purposes can help you make other choices. Suppose as a student, I had one choice. In class 12, I have to make it to a good professional college. So at that time, if you call me, come, let's go for a trek. I'll say no. You say, let's go for a movie. No. Let's go to have a cup of tea. Yeah, I'll come because it'll keep me awake a little longer. That's okay. So I'll make my choices which will be determined by what is most important for me. Right? So if there are 5 things which are more important, then among them there should be a gradation which is more important. And then there'll be certain short-term goals, certain long-term goals. Certain things you can do now, certain things you cannot. So you have to make a choice, keeping a lot of factors in view. So when do you say it's enough? You have to decide. Secondly, running away from duties, wrong idea, because it's part of the question. When can we run away from duties? You better don't run away from duty, because duty means it should be done by you. If you understand the word duty, it is something that must be done by you. If you run away from what must be done by you, wherever you go, you will be haunted by guilt. Now, if your question is this my duty or not? That has to be examined. What is your duty? What is not your duty needs to be examined. Being a mother to your children, taking care of them till they are grown up is a duty. After they're grown up, you have to take care of their children is not your duty. That's how I look at it, okay? Not your duty. You may do it, it's wonderful, but that's not your duty. Because that way, then they will have children, your great grandchildren, whose duty is that now your duty again? You can't say. All right. You have a duty to make your children grow up, help them stand on their feet. It is not your duty to provide for their life security. You don't need savings for them forever. Not your duty, right? It is your duty to support your spouse because you join together to live a life together. But to how much extent? Again, you have to draw a line. Marriage is about yielding. Both should yield to the other. One should want to make the other happy. It can't be a one-way street totally. But still, it is a one-way street in a lot of situations. What do you do? Do you divorce? No, not the right thing necessarily. So I'm saying you have to think. There are too many variables involved to make a choice. And there are too many things which are hidden. Hidden variables. How do you address hidden variables? What will manifest tomorrow? You made so many choices. You bought a big house because you had a good income. And then you fell sick. What happens? All your cards collapse because you don't know when your health is going to get better. And COVID came and took all time away from you anyway. What are you going to do? You have to piece your life together, but you made a choice. You bought a big house. You have to pay the mortgage. If you don't pay the mortgage, you are in trouble. And the market is bad because you can't sell it and make a profit either. You lose money. Even to make up for the losses, you have to work. What do you do? It's not an easy choice. So there are hidden variables. You didn't know your health will go bad. You did you? If you did, you wouldn't buy that house in the first place. That's where Ishvara comes into life. You address hidden variables to the extent you can with a prayer. Not that everything is addressed, but to some extent. It's like you have an insurance plan for 10,000 rupees. Your surgery costs you 85,000. So, okay, 10,000 it paid, okay? If you had insured for 85, you would have got 85. But how do you know how much to insure for? You never know, right? So there are several things to look at. And some of it we will explore as we go further in this class. I'm just giving you a peek into what's coming. All right. So a lot of factors, but I'm saying you have to consider your duties, you have to consider your goals, you have to consider your capacities, your abilities, and with all those, your insecurities, everything has to be considered when making life choices. It's not so simple. But the more clear about you are about your goals and your constraints and your capacities, the more realistic your choice will be. Still, there are hidden variables. Those are addressed to some extent by bringing Ishvara into your life. And if you have enough Ishvara understanding in your life, then you know that whatever you do, whatever comes in life is Ishvara. You can grow in any situation if that is your goal. If the goal is money, it may not come. If the goal is health, it may not come. If the goal is security, it may not come. But if the goal is Ishvara, you will never be away. Okay? Then, next question. Okay. The Shastras seem to suggest that God fulfills material desires as well. Does Gita also say so? I remember reading um, similar, okay, reading some verses, I guess, similar verses there too. But it's it is in most people's experience that mere prayer, see the word mere, okay, means prayer is belittled, looks like. Mere prayer is not solving material desires. And some thinking on our part makes it understandable. And also, one has a lot of desires, and not all can be solved, means achieved. Why then do Shastras make confirmed statements like, have no doubt, pray to God and He will fulfill your material desires as well? Why don't they say it is conditional and one should have lot of bhakti and do lot of tapasya for it? There are various vratas that which make statements like these. For example, Ekadashi vrata, and also rituals like Putra Kameshti Yajna, etc., which we hear kings like Dasharatha. Right? How should one interpret statements like these? Is the question clear? So, valid question. Look, suppose I tell you, do this prayer. Will you do it? I just said, do this prayer, it'll do you good. Will you do it? Unlikely. I tell you, you do this and you will get what you want. Will you do it? More likely. But Swamiji, that's lying. It's not lying. You tell your child, if you're a mother, suppose you're raising a child, and you tell the child, or you look, think of your own childhood. Mother says to you, you don't eat veggies. You only want to eat Frito-Lays, chips, junk food. Mother says, look, do you see that Hanuman? See how strong he is? You want to be like that? Yes, I want to be like that. Eat. Eat veggies. You'll become strong. Is that true or untrue? Hanuman ate veggies. He ate spinach. You don't eat spinach. So he ate spinach. And he ate dal. He didn't eat chips. Oh, okay. You want to be like Hanuman? Every time you're told that. How long will you buy this for? Till you grow up a little more. But then, what was the mother's goal? To make you eat healthy. Because she knows that eating chips alone is not good for you. Did she do anything wrong? Not necessarily. And indeed, if you eat healthy, you will go stronger. Indeed, you will grow stronger. But you'll become Hanuman. Everybody doesn't become Hanuman. Yes, but if you add some prayer and some japa, maybe you'll become Hanuman too. You didn't tell me that. I will tell you when the next turn comes. So somebody asks, I want to be a doctor. What should I do? You're in third grade. Do well in class. Study well. What does that has got to do with medicine? Fourth grade, study well. Fifth grade, study well. Then you come to 10th grade. Also do extracurriculars because nowadays college want extracurriculars as well. Do that also. What does that got to do with medicine? Do it. Okay, go enroll in some neat coaching program. What's that got to do with medicine? Do it. Do yoga. Keep your body healthy. What's that got to do with medicine? You'll need it. You'll need good health. Okay. Make sure your dad doesn't take voluntary retirement. We need the money too. What's that got to do with medicine? Because that's also needed. Each one of them is aligned to the goal, right? Which one of them will materialize, you don't know, but all of them are valid, right? If you look at Vishnu Sahasranama, what does it say? Vishnu Sahasranama Phalashruti. See, every stotram has what is called as Phalashruti. Means you will hear of the results. What Vishnu Sahasranama says? It says, ya idam shrunuyan nityam yashchapi parikirtayet. Whoever listens to this or prays this, makes this prayer, but one adverb is there, nityam. One small adverb, okay? Always. Always whoever prays. What will he get? Nashubham prapnuyat kinchit so mutreha cha manavaha. He will never get anything undesirable, inauspicious here or after the body drops. Swamiji, I have been doing Vishnu Sahasranama for 20 years now. Still my health is messed up. How can it be true? Nityam, did you do? Half an hour you do it. Even during that half an hour, your phone was in your hands. and you're looking at WhatsApp because you memorize Vishnu Sahasranam very well. You could just look at messages in between. And when somebody phoned, you talked in between, and then you said, okay, ho gaya. Right? And then, you know, while you're doing Vishnu Sahasranam, you're thinking about how to handle some problem at work or what to cook for tonight. Right? This is your prayer for Vishnu. Did you do it Shraddha Bhakti? Did you really believe it will give everything, or did you think maybe it will? Can never tell. Even for a 3-verse shloka, it will tell you if you do this, you will get everything. Look, if you take it in one sense, you can look at it as saying it is giving you a direction. And if you genuinely, Bhagavad Gita will say, Manmana bhava, mad bhakta bhava, madhyaji mam namaskuru. Seems like he's very selfish. Pay attention to me, be devoted to me, do everything for me. Then what will you get? You will gain me. Who is he? Ishvara. Ishvara is what? Everything that is here. Did you get everything by going to him or not? You did. It's not literal. It is true. But, you know, third grade student wants to become doctor. Did she become doctor? She did. How many years later? 20 years later. Did it happen or not? It did. I prayed. Why it took so long? It takes time. So you can look at it that way too. So the point is that it is not untrue. And sometimes you can look upon it as an exaggerated value also. So that I will motivate you to do what has to be done. And by the time you do that, the good prayers will give you the right thinking to modify your life to get what you want. It may, in fact, make you drop your desire to go to med school and want you to become a sannyasi. What do you know? You don't know what it will do to you. I cannot tell you what prayer can do for you today. And it also depends on what you ask for. You say, I want to do medicine, but Bhagavan thinks you're not fit for it. Or your karma, all your karma phala does not still add up to give you what you're looking for. Fate and free will are two sides of one coin. It's your free will today and free will in the past. If you put enough will with prayer, you can get what you want. Prayer is not a mere prayer. Prayer is an action. Every action produces a result. And prayer is an action which keeps Ishvara in view. It will produce an exalted result. Okay? Is the questioner happy? There's a counter question, I'll take it. Okay. All right. Next question is, when it is said that one is not a doer and just a witness, I want to confirm if one can see one's anger as also arising from one's prakriti and then go back to the mantra japa instead of dwelling further on the reason for anger or even feeling guilty that one got angry. Same scenario for the words that come out of one's mouth. Can we think it is the gunas that are driving it and go back to the mantra japa instead of dwelling on it? For all and everything, can we just say, I am just a witness? Whatever has to be done by me, Ishvara is going to make me do that. All I have to do is be in the awareness that I am not the doer. This is what half-baked Vedanta will do to you. Okay? Look, what do you know yourself as? Are you doing it or are you not doing it? Do you have to ask something? I saw a hand come up. No. Okay. Look, are you, when we say be a witness, it's not you be a witness by choice. To ask this question, you have a doubt. Can I be a witness alone when I'm really getting angry? When I'm really doing something, can I say I'm just a witness? Is it two roles? You can choose to do or you can choose to be a witness. If that's how you think, you can never choose to be a witness because you're involved. Being a witness is not a matter of choice. Witness means uninvolved. Give me 1 second. That's my part. Look, this is a pot. All right. Suppose this pot carries alcohol. Is the clay going to get touched by it? The pot carries alcohol. If you think you are the pot, you will bear the consequences for carrying alcohol. If you know your clay, there is no pot, then there is nothing you're carrying. Just an example, but understand, if you think you are the doer, you are responsible for the consequences of your action. If you understand, not believe, not imagine, if you understand, I am not the doer, there is no question of the effect of that sticking to you. All right? Right now, you're seeing me. All right? Are you seeing me? Yes. Are you doing seeing? Try not to see me. Keep your eyes open. Try not to see me. Do you have a choice? No. If you don't have a choice, you are not really doing anything. Seeing is not doing. Keeping your eyes open is doing. Turning towards the screen is doing, but seeing is not doing. Hearing, it's happening. You're not doing. Hearing takes place. You raise your hand, doing. You open your mouth, doing. You ask a question, doing. Understand? Why doing? Because you have the sense of, I'm going to ask this question. When is it non-doing? When are you a witness? When you are uninvolved. The plant grows. It doesn't want to grow, it grows. Just not a great example, okay? The whole idea is that you can claim you're a witness. The word is sakshi, only when you understand that you have to account for this body, this mind, and senses. What is the relationship between you and this body, mind, sense complex? The relationship, if understood properly, would be that the body, mind, sense complex is you, but you are not the body, mind, sense complex. That is called witness. And if that is your understanding, you won't ask the question. The question comes because that is not understood. Okay? Next. All right. The next question is something that is, I won't read the whole question even because I don't think I have the ability to answer that question. It's about meditation and whether it should focus on some heart center, etc., which I'm not very familiar. I will probably take it one off with the person who's asked the question. Next one. We often hear from great saints that we are so insignificant in this world, but we think that we are great. But Vedanta says that we are the absolute. Isn't there a confusion or a disconnect? Which is true? Am I insignificant or am I absolute? Look, this pot thinks I'm a tiny pot. Okay, a better example. You are standing on a beach and the wave thinks I'm an insignificant wave. Insignificant. Why? I'm there now, next moment I may not be there. I'll be gone. Right? I'm insignificant. Now I tell the wave, hey, what were you before you became a wave? Water. What are you after you die? You're going to die in a moment, right? Yes. Say it quickly. What will you be when you die? Before you die, you tell me that. Water. What are you right now? I'm a wave. Come on. Are you a wave or are you not water right now? You are. Where is your birth? Where is your death? The whole blessed ocean is you. Don't you see? If the wave sees I am water, it is absolute. If it thinks I'm a wave, it is an insignificant thing. Okay. But for the wave to understand I am water, it needs a lot of infrastructure. Okay. to gain that infrastructure, somebody tells it, you are insignificant. It is true when it feels insignificant. How to become significant? Do some duties, do some karma properly, be prayerful, gain some right attitudes and values. Ahimsa, Satyam, Akrodham, have all those values. Then what will happen? Then you go to a teacher one day. Then you will understand. What will I understand? That you are significant. Did I become significant? No, you're already significant. Then why I am like this? You need to understand. I want to understand today. You can't. You need to grow up. Okay? That's the answer to that question. So if anyone has anything further to ask on that, the questioners, they're welcome to. I don't know if the questioners even here. But any follow-ups? We're done. Okay. We'll stop in that case.
If I may.
Oh, you have a question? Okay, ask.
Just a comment, Swamiji.
Yeah.
You mentioned about Puja Swamiji mentioning about the Veda saying that if with this ritual it surely will rain during Purnahuti. By God's grace and Puja Swamiji's blessings, I got to witness this at Sailorsburg at the this thing Atirudram. We had just gone for the last 3 days. While in Chicago, we drove up there, a bunch of us, and Puja Swamiji was there. Luckily for us, and such a blessing it was. And like you exactly said, for those 3 days, there was no sign of rain. There was no prediction of rain. And you know the quality of the weather prediction in the US. They're absolutely bang on. And on the day of the Purnahuti, we were all seated in the pandal and reciting. And then we had to get up because the cloud was so intense, it flooded the place. And it stopped magically after we finished our food. It's just that period.
Yeah, but the only thing is this, watch one thing there. Was that Atirudra intended for rain?
It wasn't, but I guess.
So then I'm saying you can't tie. See, if you say it will bring rain, then you do it. It's one thing. It rained is an auspicious sign there.
Auspicious sign.
It is not a result of that necessarily.
Intended for.
So I'm saying here we're talking of tying the result with the action. And for that is what I quoted Kariri, because Kariri is meant for rain.
Achha. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. We'll stop then.